What's up, guys? We are back with another reaction video. This time, we're watching Anemo and the Concept of Freedom. I pronounced that word probably so wrong, but whatever. This actually video was made by Chill by Aster, so if you guys haven't already, make sure you go hit that subscribe button on their channel. Go spread the love to them. They're making great content over there. I've already kind of peeked at a couple of their videos. Love it. Love their concept. Love what they're doing. And let's just, watch it whenever my computer will load. Cool.
Welcome to Anemo and the Concept of Freedom. Today, I want to identify what freedom means to each character that has the Anemo element. Warning, this is all just my personal opinion and analysis, and a blatant excuse to put 4 of my favorite characters in one video.
Okay, fair enough.
When you think
Respect.
about the word freedom, the first misconception is that you're free of all obligations, and in turn, that's what makes you happy. But we know that Anemo isn't simply that. Freedom, when looking at the stories of the Anemo characters, means enjoying a life that you want to, having responsibilities that are defined by you, and a future that is created by your own morals, standards, and judgment. So I believe that each Anemo character resembles a certain form of freedom. Freedom in expression and emotion, freedom in defiance, freedom in upholding legacy, freedom in redefining legacy, freedom in passion, freedom in rest, and freedom in action. Let's begin with a prime example of freedom incarnate. At first, Venti's story might seem like it's just the base form of being apathetic and not caring about anything. You would think that because few know of his true abilities as an Archon, he's free from the responsibilities of keeping Mondstadt safe. He also seems to have disturbed connections with Celestia, and we know that he recently lost his Gnosis, which was one of his last connections to the island in the sky.
Okay.
His freedom could easily be freedom from responsibilities.
I love what she's doing with the background changes like this. This is great.
Time and time again, he would help Mondstadt in his own way. Against Durin, against the Valen, against Ursa the Drake, against the aristocracy, and even against personal hardships. We also know that he, as a bard, is quite in tune with Mondstadt and actively helps those around him with their problems whenever he can.
Okay.
He never had any real intention of leaving Mondstadt's people to deal with the problems. Venti may say that, but his actions speak louder than words.
Yo, these subtitles are fucking me up right now. What is going on?
Instead, is the freedom of expression and emotion. First is that as Barbados, he allowed his people to be free to rule the land as they so wish, without the primary interference of a god. Mondstadt is now a land of freedom because the people are open to express their opinions and thoughts without hindrance. Secondly, Venti, as a bard, can now live another life in which he helps Mondstadt in his own way, through his creativity and his words. Venti is versatile and carefree in how he keeps people happy. He, just like in the past, sings the tales of late heroes and weaves people's names into their ballads because he doesn't want them to be forgotten. He can be...
Yo, that's legendary Venti right there. Mans is literally figuring out a way to immortalize you. And that's all we ever want, right? I mean, like, in my lifetime, okay, I'd like to at least have some kind of accomplishment that would, immortalize me. Not a statue. We don't need a statue, okay? I mean, I'm cool. I'd be cool with a statue, but I feel like a statue is too much, okay? I don't know what I'd want to be immortalized as. You guys let me know. If you had one thing to be immortalized as, for something that you could pass on throughout generations, what would it be? Because like I like where Venti's going with this.
Bombastic and cheerful, but he also carries the legacy of his late friend without any repercussions. He also now has the freedom to express his thoughts without being restricted by a higher deity, maybe like Celestia. We know that out of the 3 Archons, Venti is much more childish and isn't afraid to become sarcastic even towards other gods. But at the same time, he carries an air of wisdom to his words that show you there is a deeper meaning behind what he says. Venti advocates for the balance between responsibility and easygoing, and that proper freedom is being in the middle of that. But now, we move on to those that branch from expression and emotion. Because if you think freedom is simply being bombastic...
Yo, we gotta breathe for a second. I'm trying to like listen to what she's saying, and I'm watching these subtitles, and these subtitles make no freaking sense. I'm just gonna turn them off at this point, because just look at what it even says. Jumping Bert Secas? What the fuck what is that? I'm just turning them off, okay? Sorry. For those that wanted subtitles, sorry, okay? Sorry. But No.
or saying what's on your mind, you notice that isn't the case. The other 5 Anemo users tend to be very tight-lipped or less expressive than Venti in terms of conversational skills. But that doesn't mean they aren't free. Quite the contrary, each of their stories resemble a form of freedom that stems from expression and emotion, and that's the concept of choosing your own path. Let's begin with the easiest. The freedom of defiance is Kazuha's way of freedom. First is his defiance of his previous status as an Inazuma noble. However, the Kadahara clan would soon deteriorate and their fortune collapsed with Kazuha having nothing to inherit. Although such a predicament would have been unfortunate for Kazuha, it gave him a feeling of fresh air. This was a golden opportunity to begin a new life of wandering. He also quite enjoys people that speak their minds and have no need to hide anything. However, his second form of defiance would be against the Raiden Shogun and her Vision Hunt decree. His freedom is shown brightly by his belief that everyone is entitled to their hopes and dreams,
which is his freedom
and
to
that
do
no
so.
one has the right to take them, not even a god. He would soon defy the Vision Hunt decree and become one of the primary members of the resistance against the god, furthering his fight for freedom of Inazuma. The next 3 forms of freedom might seem contradictory to what the word freedom is usually seen as, which is the complete removal of obligations. However, that isn't the case. It is the freedom to choose the path.
All I gotta say, Aster, you did your freaking research. I can hear it in the script that you're saying right now. You did your research. This girl's done a great job. Honestly,
a path of obligations. The freedom to redefine
she's doing such a great job with this video.
As the acting Grandmaster of Mondstadt, lives in a constant state of pressure from her work and their status. She is often looked up to for help and is revered in the Knights of Avonius. But at the same time, she is constantly at war with herself as she tries to uphold the standards of not only an acting Grandmaster, but also as a follower of Vanessa and a member of the Gunhilder clan. However, Jean's freedom is expressed in the way that she carries these responsibilities with pride, and the way that she states that she always wants to do what's best for Mondstadt in her own way and her own definitions. The legacy she had in her past was simply a guide, but Jean's path is for hers to create. The first aspect of Jean's legacy is her connection to the Gunhilder clan, the oldest family of knights in Mondstadt. She was raised to be a successor, and was trained in all the things a knight must know: discipline, etiquette, conduct, and swordsmanship. A Gunhilder learns to say "for Mondstadt as always" before anything else. Jean, at a young age, would find the freedom of what that motto meant to her, and when she lifts her head from her piles of paperwork, she sees that she has no regrets about her years of service to that motto. You have to give your all to do the right thing. Always. Another aspect of Jean's legacy is her role as the acting Grandmaster. Jean's work ethic comes from 2 things: her education and the devoted teachings of Varka. However, Varka was a relaxed and unruly Grandmaster, and unfortunately, that weighed a toll on Jean. Jean does not resent Varka for his carelessness when taking care of Mondstadt, but upon his departure, Jean shows another air of freedom in the way she wishes to redefine her new position. Upon your return, I will show you a kinder, more prosperous, and more peaceful Mondstadt. And lastly is the legacy of the first Dandelion Knight, Vanessa, the founder of the Knights of Avonius. The title of the Dandelion Knight or the Lion Fang Knight carried a lot of weight to it, especially since it once belonged to Vanessa. It was a symbol of resistance and benevolence. Jean wondered if she could be worthy of such an honorable title. However, Jean carries that title with pride, and understands that the right way she will define both Vanessa's title and her family's honor will be for her to decide. The freedom to uphold legacy is Zhao's way of freedom. Tradition is a very obscure thing, and perhaps not everyone is inclined to hold the past to high regard.
Redefining legacy, and this
Zhao's
guy's
tale
upholding
is
legacy.
Finding freedom from
That
the
would be his
pain
freedom
while
to make
holding
that
the choice
choice.
to abide by Rex Lapis's contract to protect Liyue. Zhao is known as the Guardian Yaksha, and has sworn to protect the entirety of Liyue under the ancient contract and debt he holds to Rex Lapis. Let's begin with the first part of his legacy. He believes that everything he does must give respect to the Adepti and Rex Lapis. He holds the traditions of the past to high regard because of several reasons. First is he has abundant respect for the comrades he lost in his battles. Upholding the tradition of the Adepti is similar to keeping their memory alive, not only for the Yakshas, but also for other eternal deities. He sees that the aggression from those traditions would almost be like belittling the sacrifices of the past, though he doesn't hold a grudge over those who are ignorant. Second is his determination to uphold Rex Lapis' contract despite Zhongli's retirement. Zhao holds the best interests of Liyue in his heart, despite his exterior. And though he states that this is per his contract, it is also clear that he doesn't want any harm upon the mortals he protects. The contract, at some point, almost becomes an extension of his own personal desire to protect others. Zhao is a person who cherishes the bonds that he has with others, despite seeming aloof. His friendship with the Traveler is clear of that. But perhaps his freedom is incomplete. The freedom of choice, which in Zhao's case is his constant choice to obligate himself to a millennial-old contract by fighting the demons alone, does have negative effects on him. He is withheld by his own karma, and he is constantly plagued by the very past he wants to preserve. But we know that Zhao is adapting to his newfound freedom. The freedom of change is a mortifying thing, and in Zhao's words, Liyue Harbor is changing. Rapid. We know that Zhao isn't used to living a carefree and peaceful life. But with the Traveler's help, it seems that he's on his way to find a middle ground between his past and future. The freedom of passion is Sucrose's way of freedom.
Sucrose!
Much like Jean and Zhao, one would think that just because you have a lot of responsibilities, you're immediately burdened by them. But we know that isn't the case. The freedom to pursue your own aspirations is a hope that many aspire, and one that Sucrose embodies very well. Her story shows you that being passionate for a topic is beautiful. Sucrose is the assistant to Albedo, but she pursues a far different form of science than him. Unlike Albedo, who wants to discover new life, Sucrose wishes to modify existing life and add variety to the world around her. Her passion lies in studying bioalchemy and the sweet flower. Interestingly enough, rest would normally be seen as freeing, but in Sucrose's case, it isn't. The time that Albedo organized a mandatory 7-day vacation for her, Sucrose initially got the proper rest to regain her energy, but soon she struggled to readjust to a vacation lifestyle. She was constantly in a state of hyperanalyzing, and soon enough, she became bored and restless. She found that by not doing what you want to do, it felt even more shackling than actually being physically exhausted after an experiment. According to her,
all day long, you have nothing to research, and nothing to question. That's not rest, it's torture.
Sucrose's passion for her craft stems
so
from her
Sucrose is a
lost friendships
workaholic,
in her past.
is what I'm gathering
she had two
from
close
this.
friends,
right?
And in their childhood, the three had promised
But
to
she's a
discover
happy
hidden
workaholic.
domain with pretty
She
pink
likes
flowers,
work.
the height of 100
She's
people.
a happy
However,
workaholic.
due to unforeseen circumstances,
Seems to work.
the other two cut ties with her, and Sucrose had never felt more alone in her whole life. Sucrose then realized that though she never found this hidden paradise, she now had the opportunity to be the creator of her own. The last two embodiments of freedom seem to be contradictions, but truthfully, they're both just two sides of the same coin. Freedom in rest and freedom in action. Freedom in rest is Sayu's expression of freedom. This is the freedom we commonly associate the word with. Carefree and relaxed, with somewhat of a disregard for work and responsibilities. Living life in one's own bubble. However, Sayu's story isn't completely just about rest. Sayu is the resident ninja of the Shumatsuban, but she has the stature of a child. Her height was never her strongest suit, and soon enough, she believed that as long as she sleeps, she'll definitely get taller. So she found more and more creative ways to sleep. The ninjutsu that Sayu uses isn't very powerful in combat, but it is quite useful in the matter of slacking off. She is skilled in hiding, she is capable of summoning clones and concealing her aura. However, when found, she doesn't immediately go to work. Additionally, Sayu will keep trying to slip away from a mission as to not be overwhelmed.
She's sneaky.
The true epitome
what I'm gathering
of
from
laziness. Doing extra work just to avoid doing work. Sayu is a blessing. However, Sayu, for all her elusive methods and escape arts, wonders. The people who have always been with you will one day leave. Perhaps someday in the future, she too will meet the person who will always be with her.
Her forever
and
person.
Last but not the least is the freedom of action. The Traveler embodies all the forms of freedom we covered. They are expressive and emotive in the ways they approach people and situations. They are defiant. They will fight for what they believe in and are not afraid to become confrontational, God or otherwise. They choose to pursue their past, specifically their past with their sibling. Despite all the options they have in Tevat and the glories that have followed him from across the 3 nations, The traveler chooses to reunite with their sibling. The traveler chooses to continue their life of hopping from world to world. They are passionate. In everything they do, they try to put their best foot forward. Their daily commissions, helping their friends, their missions, they always try to give it their all. But they also have the freedom to relax. Again, they are not from Tevat. Their approach tends to stray away from conventional methods. They live a life of wandering, constantly on the move and never shackled down by anything or anyone. Additionally, it could be because
What are
they are
those
not
people
from
called
this world.
that travel all the time? They don't ever like lay down roots. Is it vagabonds? No, vagabonds are the wrong word.
Tevat has to readjust. For example, they're free to use the elements without the need of a vision. They are free to travel around with the use of waypoints. The traveler is an enigma, as free as the wind with no one dictating what they can or cannot do. If there's anything
Besides
to take
the
away
player.
from Venti's lessons, it's that the world around you isn't always limited to one path. Freedom is being able to redefine the world by your own standards. My name is Aster, and thank you for chilling with me.
Hell yeah, Aster. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful video. Okay? If you guys haven't already, make sure you go spread the love to her. She made a really, really great job. Really, honestly. Like I never really thought about it like that. Like the theories like that. But I guess a lot of it does make a lot of sense. I'm curious to see what the other ones are. If you guys haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.